In One Piece, Luffy, the most gluttonous guy we know, meets Blackbeard while devouring a cherry pie in Mocktown on Jaya. This cherry pie is, in Blackbeard's own words, so good he might just die, and he ends up in an all-out ordering contest trying to order up to 100 of them to go. While I may disagree with Blackbeard's moral stances, I'm not opposed to any excuse to make and eat a cherry pie, so let's do it. To start, we need to make a pie dough. Into a bowl goes flour, a little sugar, and a pinch of salt. Then we'll mix those all together to combine them well into a homogeneous dry mix. Then, using cold butter that has been cut into small cubes, we'll add that into the dry mix as well. Toss to coat the butter, and then using our hands, we'll squeeze and crumble to incorporate the butter within the flour, making sure to move fast as we don't want things to melt. Then we add a little bit of ice cold water at a time to help bring the dough together. We can always add more, we just can't take water out. So we just add a little bit at a time and mix as we go until the dough is able to hold itself together, but it shouldn't feel overly sticky. This is a pretty quick process that only takes a few minutes. Once the dough has come together, we divide it into halves, and then using plastic wrap to place one portion in and wrap it up into a disc. We'll repeat this step with the other half so that you have 2 pie crusts wrapped up. Once the pie crusts are wrapped and ready, they can go into the fridge to chill for at least 2 hours, in which case we can then make our cherry filling. To make the filling, we first need to acquire cherries. You can certainly use fresh cherries if in season, but I'm actually going to use frozen ones because frozen cherries will release juices slower than fresh ones, making it easier to assemble and help prevent the crust from being soggy. To be on theme, since this is Blackbeard's cherry pie, I'm specifically using dark cherries because they're a dark fruit. Anyways, using dark cherries tends to be sweet versus tart, making this a sweet cherry pie. Into a bowl goes some cherries. I recommend using a bigger bowl than I did so it's easier to contain and mix things, but we all have to make our own bed and lie in it. Same goes for when cooking. We'll also add in some sugar for sweetness and to help jamify the fruit. Mix those in well so that all the cherries are coated. Then we'll add in a few spoons of cornstarch to prevent the juices from being too liquidy and making the crust soggy. Again, mixing those in to make sure everything gets coated. Then we want a little dimension to the flavor, so next we'll add some lemon. I like to add both fresh lemon zest and fresh lemon juice. And finally, to season, I'll add in some cinnamon, and then some salt to help enhance the flavor. Once all that is in, we can mix everything together, trying to make sure that all the cherries are properly coated with all the ingredients we added to the filling. Once that is good and well mixed, we can put that aside. Before working the dough, at this point remember to preheat the oven to 425 Fahrenheit or 220 Celsius. Take out of the fridge one pie dough and remove the plastic wrap. And then using a rolling pin and a little flour to help prevent sticking, we roll the dough out to get it to a large enough size to cover the pie pan. Keep rolling the dough until it is an even thickness throughout, as we want consistent baking versus having an area that is too thick or too thin and baking at different times. Once the dough is completely rolled out, we'll transfer the dough into the pie pan. And then use our hands to adjust the dough and fix any potential holes in the crust. Once the dough is molded to the pan, we'll grab our cherry filling and carefully add it into the pie. Trying to adjust to make sure the cherries are somewhat even throughout, as we are going to bake this with an open top. Then using your hands, you can pull the crust over to help contain the cherries. We could clean up the edges or use the extra pie to enclose it, but in the show we see the cherry filling exposed. So I'm going for that rugged, open-faced pirate pie look. And then I'm using the extra crust to make a second pie. Next, you can add a few pieces of butter on top to help bring a gloss to the fruits. And we'll also do an egg wash to help give the crust that golden shine when it bakes. Once that is all good, we have a cherry pie that is ready to be baked. We're first going to bake at 425 Fahrenheit or 220 Celsius for 20 minutes to brown. And then we'll drop the temp to 375 Fahrenheit or 190 Celsius for roughly 30 to 40 minutes to finish it. Once baked, we can take it out of the oven and let it rest and cool completely. It'll take a couple hours to cool, but this is what it looked like when I first took it out of the oven. Given the liquidy nature of a fruit pie like this, you'll see some natural leakage and it'll come out looking a little liquidy since the juices are fresh. The cooling will help solidify and jam up the filling when you serve it. The next day, it's now fully cooled off so we can have some cherry pie. So carefully cut a slice onto a plate. And here's a slice of cherry pie with the crust golden and holding itself well without any support. We can also see individual distinct cherry fruits, which is what we wanted, as well as that glossy sheen we get on the fruit. With that, we have to answer the age-old question: how does it taste? It's delightfully sweet and full. I really like the texture of the full cherry bursting in my mouth, combined with that jaminess and some of the buttery, flaky crust. It's just so satisfying. The little addition of lemon and cinnamon really helps to round out the sweetness so it's not cloying or one note, but really balanced compliments to the sweet cherries. That being said, it was so good it belonged in the second serving society because I had to go back for another slice. With that, please hit the like button for this video and subscribe to my channel. I love making the most random dishes, so let me know in the comments what other fun things you think I should make. Until next time, thanks for watching.